Hi there, I'm Claire Whalen, and you're listening to the Claire in a Chair podcast.
And I know I can tell you anything. You won't judge, you're just listening. Yeah.
Hi there, and welcome to this week's episode. Today is going to be something a little bit different, but I actually thought of this idea when I was listening to one of my favorite songs last week. I was listening to Olivia Dean, A Couple Minutes, which is an amazing song, by the way. But it was talking about how love is never lost whenever it's shared. And I realized there is so much advice hidden in everyday life. For example, there is so much advice intertwined and hidden in lyrics. I mean, a lot of artists themselves have said that they actually write poems first and then they kind of mix in the melody second. With this being said, I realized there is so much knowledge and advice that we can gain just from listening to music. As someone who is a chronic music listener, one time Apple Music hours of music that I listened to was 23,000 hours in a month, which I've definitely heard more, but I feel like that's kind of a really large amount. I'm constantly listening to music, and my top artists constantly change, but I was realizing, wow, I could actually, because my mom's always like, why aren't you listening to podcasts? And don't get me wrong, I love a good podcast, obviously, but I really gravitate towards music most of the time. And my mom was like, you're not really learning anything. And I was like, wait, maybe I actually am. So today I'm going to be sharing some of the advice that I found through listening to some of my favorite songs. And I'm going to explain what I think that advice could look like in everyday life. So sit back, relax, put in your headphones, and listen to the advice from our very own music artists. First thing I listened to was, I was in Barnes & Noble's, I was working, and I was listening to Beautiful Boy by John Lennon. And this one lyric really stood out to me. Here's a video of the lyric right here.
Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans.
Beautiful, right? There's so much to learn from that lyric. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans by John Lennon. Now, here's one thing I want to talk about. That lyric is so true. And I myself am definitely victim of this. I'm constantly trying to fill each of my days with plans, and then I get to the plans and I'm like, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I haven't given myself time to think because I keep just shoving in more plans just so that I don't be left alone with my own thoughts, which is definitely what I'm doing every single time I put in my headphones and listen to music. I don't want to think. And that's so true. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. If we never give ourselves time to just let the day happen, we're never going to get to fully experience life. So I love that one so much, and I'm so happy I got to share that with you. Now let's move on to our next one. The next one is from Chris Stapleton, one of my favorite artists as well, and it's from his song Millionaire, and this is the lyric.
It's more precious than gold. Can't be bought.
Yep, that's the lyric. Love can't be bought and it can't be sold. And I love that so much because in a world that values superficial things so much, it's important to realize the importance of love. Because love is not superficial, love is real. Love is something that can't be given away. It can't have a price tag on it. Love is free, and love is what you make it. And that honestly reminds me how it is free to be kind. Kindness is free. Love is free. I don't have to give anyone anything in a world that values such superficial things. Love is free. And I hope that this lyric inspired you to love fully and to love for free. All right, now to the next one. This is the one I was talking about before, but with Olivia Dean, and it's this lyric right here.
Love's never wasted when it's shared.
That is from her song, A Couple Minutes, and I love Olivia Dean so much, but it's so true. I often feel like in today's world, and like I said, I'm definitely a victim of this, but I constantly feel like if something didn't work out the way I wanted it to, if a relationship didn't work out the way I wanted to, I always am like, that was a waste of time. It was a waste of, why did I waste my time so much just for it to turn out being a lesson? But that's what Olivia Dean is talking about. Love is never wasted when it's shared. If you're sharing your love with someone, that'll never be a waste. Because you never know how much that person might have needed it. So I always try to remind myself that when friendships, relationships, or things don't work out the way I want them, love is never wasted when it's shared. And by sharing our love and by sharing our kindness with the world, that is not a waste whatsoever. The next lyric is actually from the Beatles, one of my favorite bands as well, and it's
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be.
Let It Be from their song Let It Be, and that is so true. For me, I'm always searching for more. I'm always trying to reach something new. Even though I've already reached so many of the goals I've wanted to achieve, I don't really let myself sit with that success. I'm constantly trying to achieve more, and I need to remind myself to just let it be. And also, it reminds us that we can't control everything. And by having this mindset, we can live life way more freely and way more happy. So I really hope that you learned something from the Beatles as well. Okay, the next one is one of my personal favorites, and it's from the song Unwritten. Let's listen to it.
Today is where your book begins, the rest is still unwritten.
So as amazing as this song might be, this truly reminds us that our story is unwritten. We don't know what's happening, and the possibilities are endless. Today is where your book begins. That shows that you have the power to create and shape your own journey. Next is What Doesn't Kill You by Kelly Clarkson, so let's listen to this one.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That is so true, because I'm really starting to understand as I'm maturing and I'm growing and more life is happening to me, how hard experiences can truly shape you. And what doesn't kill you does end up making you stronger. What I keep in my mind is any bad thing happened is a lesson. And I truly, everything that hasn't gotten my way in my life or I feel like was bad at that time has truly taught me such a valuable lesson that is more than I ever could have imagined. So just know what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This one's kind of basic, but I definitely feel like there's so much of a life lesson in this, and that's Vienna by Billy Joel.
Slow down, you're doing fine. You can't be everything you wanna be before your time.
Slow down, you crazy child. You can't be everything you want to be before your time. And that is so true. I feel like I'm constantly wanting to live a different part of my life. And I talked a little bit about this in my episode, Waiting for Life to Begin. But I'm constantly like, I want to go to college. I want to get started on my career. I want to live life. But I just have to remind myself it's not my time yet. And when my time comes, it'll be better than I ever could have imagined. But I need to slow down and be content with where I am today. And not allow, obviously it's great to hope for the future, but I need to be present where I am, or I'm going to miss it. That's all of the advice from lyrics I have for today. Next time you plug in your headphones to listen to some music, I hope that you actually listen to the lyrics, because there's definitely some wisdom found in the cracks of music, because truly, music is an art form and art is therapy. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Claire in a Chair. I hope you liked this little bit of a different format. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Claire in a Chair Podcast. Check out my website, clairinachair.com, and I'm so happy you're here. Remember, know your worth, know your beauty, and most of all, love yourself. This is Claire in a Chair, signing off.
And I know I can tell you anything. You won't judge, you're just listening.